East Kamloops is comprised of 6 different neighborhoods: Valleyview, Rose Hill, Juniper Ridge, Dallas, Barnhartvale, and Campbell Creek. We're going to talk about living in those neighborhoods, the good, the bad, and the sketchy, starting right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me. My name is Pereira, but you can call me Al. I am a veteran realtor of 25 years living in beautiful Kamloops, British Columbia, and in this video we're going to talk about the 6 neighborhoods that make up the eastern part of the city of Kamloops, and all of these neighborhoods are within the city limits. Now, the eastern part is unique in that you have residential neighborhoods, semi-rural neighborhoods, and acreages, so we have lots to cover. Now, if you were looking for a video that has a lot of cutesy photos and the best of each neighborhood with the best homes and flowers coming up out of the ground because it's spring and it's the best time to photograph those neighborhoods, you're in the wrong video. Because in this video, we're going to take a high-level overview of each neighborhood, what you can expect, both good, bad, and sketchy, with a general overview of what you can expect living in each neighborhood. Now, if you like the video, please hit the like button and or subscribe, because that really helps me out. And if I can help you with any buying or selling of real estate in the Kamloops area, please reach out to me in the show notes below or at the end of this video for my contact information. Let's get started. Number 1 on the list of the 6 East Kamloops neighborhoods is Valleyview, and these are in no particular order. Valleyview, in terms of good, is nice and flat for the most part. It's close to the city center, and a lot of the lots are fairly large. Now, you have a good mix of condominiums, townhouses, and detached homes in this area. You have an elementary school and a high school, and a lot of the shopping for the eastern part of Kamloops is located in the Valleyview area. Now, a lot of it is strip malls, big box retailers, but there are some restaurants and smaller specialty shops as well. But if you're living anywhere east in the Kamloops area, generally for a lot of your shopping for your more basic things, you can do in the Valleyview area. Now, in terms of what's bad in Valleyview, Highway 1 runs through Valleyview, so you do get a lot of traffic, and it can be fairly congested in terms of trying to leave during rush hour periods of time. You have CP Rail, which runs alongside the railway, and that is between the highway and the river, and some of the neighborhoods are split by those railroad tracks. Now, in terms of what's sketchy, you have a lot of lower end motels in the Valleyview area, and a lot of those areas around those motels, and in those motels there have been a lot of reported crimes and even some murders. So there is prostitution been reported there, drug use, needles, garbage, a lot of vagrancy, because people are traveling through the Highway 1 area and they tend to stay in that area. So I know the City of Kamloops is working on improving this area, but at present it can be a bit sketchy in terms of crime and criminal activity. The farther you are away from those motels, the better you'll be in terms of petty crime and crime overall, though car break-ins do happen everywhere in the city, so keep your valuables out of sight. Valleyview is a great family neighborhood. It's a bit older, but there's no reason why you shouldn't consider it and put on your list when thinking about buying a home or renting in the Valleyview area. Hey everybody, just wanted to take a minute and explain to you that Valleyview Secondary is the high school for most of eastern Kamloops, and do check with the school district for your home's catchment area or future home's catchment area, so you know where your kids are going to go for school. But in terms of eastern Kamloops, most of the kids, teenagers, are going to be going to Valleyview Secondary, and as you can see, they do have this very large sports field here. But you'll also notice that behind me, when I was talking earlier, you see all this building going on. This is an expansion of the high school, because Kamloops is growing so quickly. They have to get ahead of it, and we're kind of behind because we have portables. You can see those in the distance over there, and the old high school is just past that dirt pile there. So this is Valleyview Secondary, and this is the parking lot here, and just gives you a good general overview of what to expect. But if you've got teenagers, they'll be coming to Valleyview Secondary. I did make a video about rankings for schools, and Valleyview Secondary did pretty well. But if you're looking for an area where your teenagers don't have to go too far to go to a high school, then Valleyview is pretty much it, because they'll be bused in, or you'll be driving them in from elsewhere in East Kamloops. Number 2 is Rose Hill. And Rose Hill is a very unique area. You have to travel up Rose Hill Road, which is fairly steep, and that's sort of on the bad category. But what's great about Rose Hill is you have a lot of beautiful, very stately homes that are sort of old money in the Rose Hill area, and they have a lot of estate style lots that are half an acre or larger for the most part. There are some newer neighborhoods that are also upscale in Valleyview, so check those out. There are no schools of any kind in the Rose Hill area, but there is a lot of recreational activities, trails, there's disc golf, there's tennis courts, there's a lot of mountain bike trails. They're all located because it interfaces nicely with a lot of the more rural, wild, natural areas of Eastern Kamloops, and there's a lot of silt bluffs and things to explore as well. So for getting out into the country, it's beautiful. Now, in terms of what's bad, it is somewhat rural. As I said before, the road up to Rose Hill is somewhat steep and windy, and it's sometimes not in the best condition in terms of winter snow, ice, and sleet. But the city does seem to do a good job of keeping it clean, but you just never know. You will use your brakes a lot coming down that hill, so budget for brakes and tires, because there's a lot of turns and twists, and you need to know that that's probably the biggest negative of living in Rose Hill. Now, in terms of Sketchy, there's not a lot to tell you, because there are no townhouses or condominiums or rental buildings in that area, so you don't have a lot of vagrancy and that kind of thing, because it's a little bit of a pocket community that's out of the way. So if you're looking for a little bit more somewhat isolated with larger lots and no problems with vagrancy and petty theft, Rose Hill is an excellent choice, though I have heard of the occasional vehicle break-in there, but I haven't heard of anything in terms of termites or sinkholes or those kinds of problems. It seems to me that Rose Hill is pretty sturdy. Number 3 is Juniper Ridge, and this is definitely one of the more popular neighborhoods with new families, young families, and those well-to-do that are looking for new homes. It's sort of the Rose Hill of beautiful, stately homes that are newer versus Rose Hill being older, more stately homes. Now, the road up to Juniper is similar to Rose Hill in that it's kind of windy and has to be well maintained because it's somewhat steep, but it's in better condition overall than Rose Hill Road. Juniper is an excellent family neighborhood. It has a great elementary school, but there's no high school. They'll be attending Valleyview Secondary in Valleyview. There are a lot of trails, biking trails. The bike ranch is also located in Valleyview, and that's a big draw to Kamloops. Hey everybody, just wanted to give you a quick overview of the bike ranch here in Juniper Ridge, because it's a fantastic facility and you may not be aware of just what you're getting into if you're thinking about living in Juniper Ridge. Well, they have what's called the bike ranch, and I'm just going to give you a quick overview here. This is the entrance to the bike ranch, and there's a bathroom there. You can see it in the distance, and plenty of parking over here for vehicles. There's a park just over the way past that car in the distance. And then you'll see here that there's a sign that tells you about all the different levels, just like skiing. They've got your green, blue, black, double black description of the actual trails, and then there's warnings here about what you should and shouldn't do. And you've got this great map which explains all of the different trails and their colors and difficulty levels, so it gives you a good overview before you get started here. But Juniper Ridge is a fantastic area for recreation. There's lots of trails in the area, and you've got homes, single family homes. You have a little convenience store here. It's not that far to town, but it's nice and big. You've got older homes, newer homes, condominiums, townhouses, every sort of housing style. And it's great to raise a family, or if you're even an individual or retired, it's a great community as well. So check it out. But be aware that in terms of bad, when you're coming up the main road, you may encounter vehicles looking to park or move their way into the parking lot of the bike ranch, and it can create congestion going into Juniper Ridge. Now, in terms of vehicle break-ins, they happen in Juniper, and I've heard of some termite problems in older homes there, so be sure and get a professional home inspection. It's a great family neighborhood. I have no reservations about living or having you live in Juniper, but there is no shopping there except for a corner store which opened just a few years ago, but it's a little bit bigger than a corner store, so you can get milk or things like that you need without having to go all the way into Valleyview. In terms of sketchy, I can't think of anything sketchy in Juniper at all. It's a great family neighborhood and an area that you should consider buying a home or renting a home because it's a fantastic area for everyone. Number 4 is Dallas, not to be confused with Dallas, Texas. Dallas is a great family neighborhood with a lot of larger lots and older homes. If you're looking for a newer home or newer subdivisions, there's not a lot of that in Dallas, though there are a few that are continuing to build, but there aren't large swaths of new homes like other neighborhoods in Kamloops. Now, in terms of good things, you have great weather, a shorter winter overall because you're on the valley floor, but you do have Highway 1 and CP Rail Mainline running through Dallas just like it does in Valleyview, and some neighborhoods are on the side of the tracks and trapped between the river and the tracks, and if there's a train there, you might be stuck on one side or the other waiting to get in or out. So just be aware that there are a lot of fantastic neighborhoods on the riverside in Dallas, but crossing the tracks is not always easy. Now, that's what's bad about Dallas. Now, in terms of what's sketchy, there is nothing sketchy about Dallas because you don't have a lot of commercial development or strip malls within Dallas, or motels for that matter. You do have shopping that is a grocery store, gas station, things like for day to day that are in Dallas at the base of Barnhartvale, and that's ideal. But you can also go to Valleyview if you're closer to Valleyview for your shopping or on your way home from work. Do I like Dallas? I do. I like it a lot, and I don't see any reason why you shouldn't consider it. They do have an elementary school, but no high school. Number 5 is Barnhartvale. And when Christine and I moved to Kamloops, this was our first neighborhood. And it always holds a special place in our hearts. Barnhartvale is fantastic if you're looking for a somewhat semi-rural environment for you to live or raise a family. There's only one elementary school, no high school, and there isn't any shopping within Barnhartvale except for a gas station. But at the base of Barnhartvale in Dallas, you have a grocery store and a gas station and other smaller shops as well, kind of a strip mall. So you don't have to go all the way into town if you need some milk. It's a great rural feel. You have smaller homes, you have acreages, and there's lots of recreational opportunities for outdoors, biking and hiking in the hills surrounding Barnhartvale. Now, in terms of what's bad, you do have a lot of silt bluffs and somewhat unstable soil, and there's on occasion sinkholes reported in certain areas of Barnhartvale. So just be aware that there are red zones which you can't build in, but there are other neighborhoods where perhaps they should have been red zones and they're not, but there are homes there. You need to be aware of the dangers of owning a home in silt bluff areas because the ground is somewhat unstable, and if you introduce a lot of water, you can have sinkholes. In terms of what's sketchy, I've heard lots of reports of termites in the Barnhartvale area. You're not going to deal with vagrancy and vehicle break-ins as much because it's somewhat semi-rural. But the other sketchy thing I don't like is that there's almost no sidewalks within the Barnhartvale area. I mean, the city has been working on making some sidewalks for some of the main roads so that it's safer for kids going to school. But I don't think enough of that's been built, and a lot of people in Barnhartvale want more sidewalks. So I call it sketchy because I think it's unsafe to be on a lot of these main roads without a sidewalk. So just know that if you're looking for sidewalks, Barnhartvale is not a great choice, but it's great on a lot of other levels. So be sure and check it out. Number 6 in terms of East Kamloops neighborhoods is Campbell Creek. And again, these are not in any particular order. Campbell Creek is composed of a rural area and a newer subdivision called Campbell Creek Village. And a lot of this neighborhood started in the 1990s, and they're still continuing to build onto it today. So if you're looking for newer homes and getting sort of a better price point, Campbell Creek Village can be a good choice. If you're looking for acreages, a lot of the Campbell Creek acreages were cut up into nice sizes, and they're relatively flat for the most part. These properties are somewhat expensive because that kind of acreage is hard to find, and it's a very popular category for acreages just in terms of accessibility, and you'll see that when you go out there. In terms of what's bad, well, you get Highway 1, which is close to Campbell Creek Village and those neighborhoods, so you will get some highway noise. In terms of what's sketchy, you don't have a lot of commercial activity, shopping of any kind within Campbell Creek, so you don't have a lot of vagrancy. You don't have any of that, but it also means you also have to travel in to get some milk to Valleyview or to Dallas, which isn't too far away. But the other thing you should know is that the traffic that far out moving into the city can be somewhat congested at times along Highway 1, both into the city and out, so you need to budget some time for that. I like Campbell Creek. I love the acreages even more, but if you're okay with a bit of a commute, it's a great family choice and you should consider it. Well, there you have it, the 6 different neighborhoods that comprise the eastern part of the city of Kamloops. And every neighborhood has its high and low points, and I'm not telling you to pick one over any of the others because it's a very deeply personal choice that you make. So be sure and do your due diligence, talk to neighbors, and make sure that that neighborhood and that house is for you. No matter where you choose to live in Kamloops, be sure and get a professional home inspection because Kamloops has unique challenges, and one of them is termites. We have subterranean termites, and I did make a video about that, so please check it out. But a trained home inspector that's professional can see signs of termites quite easily, and you don't want to buy somebody else's problem. I hope you found value with this video. Please reach out to me in the show notes below or at the end of this video for my contact information. I'd love to help you buy or sell a home in the Kamloops area, so don't hesitate to call. Thank you for watching.